Good afternoon to you. I think Ms. Rhodes put me on the spot because she said something about being this great speaker, and that's not one of my attributes. And I like to think of myself as a teacher, rather than a speaker. So, to Dr. Nadelman and Ms. Rose and Mr. Farrell, Larry, who I know from years past, we both worked at Smith High School in Greensboro, and I've watched him as a baseball coach at Dudley High School. So I have fond memories of Larry when we were at Smith. I want to also thank the Alamance Community College for inviting me to participate in this Martin Luther King observance. This is a great audience, and I hope that we can share some things with you. I would be remiss if I didn't also introduce some people who are here for ulterior motives. They are staff members from the beloved community center in Greensboro. Tim is filming this, and he's doing this because I might need a defense if somebody decides to sue me. I can always call on the film, because sometimes I have the tendency to say things that might get me in trouble. And then we have Elena Connolly and Louis Beveridge, and I saw sneaking in the door two other people, Joe Frierson, Reverend Joe Frierson, I better say that, and Wesley Morris. They are our staff members. So stand up, guys, so people can see. They think they're here to keep me straight, you know. The pictures outside represent a period of the civil rights struggle in Greensboro from 1960 to 1963. Most people know of the sit-in movement that started February 1 in 1960 at the Woolworth dime store. But when desegregation came to Greensboro, it only came in 1960 to 4 facilities. The rest of Greensboro was still segregated. And so in 1961, we began demonstrating at movie theaters. And in 1962, we began mass demonstrations across the city, targeting all of the places of public accommodation. And Dr. William Chafe at Duke University says in his book, Civilities and Civil Rights, the story of the Greensboro sit-in of the civil rights movement, that Greensboro perhaps had the largest demonstrations anywhere in the South. Thousands of people marching in the streets, and hundreds of people getting arrested. We know of Birmingham and we know of Montgomery because of the fire hoses, the dogs, and the bombing of the church. But Greensboro, and you can see this when you look at these pictures out there, mass demonstration, people sitting in the streets in the heart of Greensboro, demonstrating against the conditions of Jim Crow. And so I hope that you will take a look at those. On 2 occasions, I had the opportunity to see and hear Dr. King. My first encounter with him was at Bennett College for Women in Greensboro. He came to speak in 1958, and so I had an opportunity to, as a freshman, to hear him speak and then to shake his hand. The second time I was at the March on Washington in Washington, D.C., and I heard this great speech that he made. Now, I hope, since all of you are techies, I guess, and you can go on the internet and Google, I hope that you will draw down the speech. But because his speech is not what most people think it is. It wasn't about a dream. The March on Washington was about jobs and freedom. And so Dr. King had gone to Washington to speak and to remind people that, and particularly this country, that it had a debt to pay to black people and to poor people in this country. So go back and read that. The part about a dream is an add-on to that speech. It's not the speech. So go back, please, and read that. The theme for this program, Civil Rights and Civil Responsibilities, speaks to the heart of the civil rights movement of the 1960s. As you know, civil rights are those rights that are guaranteed to citizens under the law. Civil rights, those legal enactments that says that you are a citizen of the United States or a citizen of Greensboro or a citizen of Alamance County. And civil responsibilities refer to the roles of citizens as members in the civil society and under the existing laws. These civil responsibilities speaks to how we should conduct ourselves as individuals and communities with others. Well, for Dr. King and those of us who participated in the civil rights movement of the 1960s, the existing laws established under Jim Crow were a denial and impediment to our constitutional rights guaranteed to us under the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. Black people basically had no rights. Thus, it is because of our civil responsibility as citizens, it became a time for us as students and other people in the community to challenge these unjust and undemocratic laws. Dr. King, in his letter from the Birmingham jail to the clergy in the South, said that there were two types of laws, just and unjust, and that one has not only a legal but a moral right and responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. So then in 1960, students, starting with students at North Carolina A&T in Greensboro, we decided to challenge some unjust laws. And so with our sitting in at the lunch counter in Woolworth, we sparked a national movement. Now, this wasn't the first time the sit-ins had occurred. They had occurred in other places. But other people took this up. And so college students and high school students and people across the South and even in the North began to sit in, to challenge the Jim Crow laws that supported the denial of people at places of public accommodation. The unjust laws of the South were targeted by all of us who were involved in this movement. We took up Dr. King's call for nonviolent direct action in pursuing the goals of justice and dignity for all citizens. What I want to do at this